All right, and we are starting. Welcome to the premiere episode of the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I have, let me introduce myself first. My name is Jared from New York, and I'm a lover of movies. And I also have my fellow lover of movies here, Emmanuel.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Me and Emmanuel decided to start this podcast together because we're just the average lover of movie. And we want to introduce a new type of opinion to fellow average movie lovers as well. Now, this is the first episode, so not gonna lie, it's gonna be a little rough. We're not, expert podcasters. We're not expert movie critics. We're just two regular people that just love movies and have opinions on them. And we want to put them out there. So, let's get this show started.
Let's do it.
We hope you enjoy the show. We're going to start off light. We got some fun things to talk about. We know two of the big heavy hitters of the summer came out recently. Superman and Fantastic Four. But before we get into that, we just want to let you in on a little bit more about who we are and the movies that we love. I want to start with maybe top five to 8. It doesn't have to be 8, but at least 5. No specific order, Emmanuel. First, before you even do that, tell the audience your favorite genre of movie and why.
My favorite genre of movie definitely has to be action movies. The reason, the why for why I love action movies, it's just because there's never a dull moment. You don't have to think too much. There's no complexness. You're just watching it to see cool explosions, people get beat up, and some hot girls in cool cars. It's a no-brainer. It's just fun. It's a good way to pass an hour or two.
What would you say your favorite action movie is?
My favorite action movie? I like the John Wick series.
John Wick, great series. What else you got?
Oh, for action movies? Let's see. Action movie that comes to mind would be... Well, I'm drawing a blank. I can't really say, but I like action movies. I'm trying to think what's one. I mean, I don't know. Can we do old movies? Like
any movie, doesn't matter.
I don't know if y'all remember Rambo from the 80s, back when Sylvester Stallone was a young guy.
Classic. What about just give me a couple more, maybe 3 or 4 favorite movies all time, ones that you saw, doesn't matter when, that you were just like, man, that movie touched me. Maybe even changed your life, the way you think. Like, just give me a couple more off the dome.
Action, or can it be
any movie?
Any movie? Okay. One movie that I don't know if many people will remember. It didn't change my life, but it is one of my favorite movies. It's called Encino Man. From back in the day, it was with Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser. This one dude was a caveman, and he got unfrozen in a modern world, and he acted like a caveman. That was one of the best comedies I've ever seen in my life.
Encino Man. Do you remember the year that came out?
Oh, dude, I don't even know. That would have been like early 90s, mid 90s. We're talking maybe 92, 93. It's an old movie.
Yes, 92. Spot on. Encino Man. Yep. I gotta check that out. Give me 2 more.
Okay, movies that changed my life. The Matrix series was one that I watched at least 100 times. I love The Matrix, especially the first one.
And what else? Give me one more.
One more. Let's see what we got. I've seen a bunch of movies. I'm just bad at remembering them. I like movies about cars. If you remember that movie, Ford vs. Ferrari.
Ford vs. Ferrari, okay.
That's not like
Who was in that movie? Who was the star?
It had Matt Damon, and it had... I don't know if it was Christian Bale?
Definitely had Matt Damon. Oh, Christian Bale. Yup, Matt Damon and Christian Bale. 2019, too. I expected that to be an older movie, but not too long ago. I'm going to have to check that out as well. Great list, buddy. Well, if I'm going to name my favorite genre movie, I would definitely go with horror movie. I've been in the horror movies for a while now. I remember the first horror movie I saw, which also happens to be one of my favorite movies ever, the classic slasher Scream. I remember seeing that movie as a kid, and it terrified me, honestly, but it also left an impression on me that I knew I wanted to see those kind of movies, because if a movie could make me feel that way, then, that's how I want to feel when I watch a horror movie. Unfortunately, they don't make horror movies like that anymore, so there's not too many horror movies that really give you a scare, for sure, but every now and then, you find some gems for sure. If I was going to name some other of my favorite movies, I gotta put The Dark Knight in there. One of the most classic superhero movies for sure.
Definitely. I forgot about Batman.
Yeah, incredible movie. I remember that was like one of the first movies that I saw multiple times in theaters, because sometimes, you just see a movie in the theater and then you say, I want to see that movie again. I'll wait for it to come on DVD, or that's what we said back in the day. Now you just wait for streaming. But, back then, when Dark Knight came out, we didn't even have that. So I went to go see it in the theater, 3 times. Probably as a record for most times I've seen a single movie in the theater, for sure. Another classic movie that I like, classic comedy, Friday. Chris Tucker, Ice Cube.
I've seen that.
Very classic movie, quotable lines. Bye Felicia, people still use it this day. So, very, very classic movie. I'll name one more. Maybe not a super classic movie, but just one of my personal favorites. 8 Mile. Eminem, great movie, great rap battles, good story.
I've seen that.
Definitely, one of my favorites. So, yeah, movies. So let's move on to, Superman. Let's get into Superman. All right, let's get into Superman. New Superman movie directed by James Gunn. His first movie in his new universe. Can you give me the star of that movie real quick? Look that up. I thought that the Superman movie, I thought it was decent. I'll give you that.
His name's David Corenswet.
David Corenswet? Corenswet. All right, David Corenswet. I thought that's his first time playing Superman, right? Is that his first role as a Superman?
I believe so.
Interesting casting choice for sure. How about you give me your review of the Superman movie? Tell me what your overall view of the movie was.
All right. So I saw the Superman a couple of days ago. And you have to understand how I kind of rate movies. So I rate it like this. Were there technical errors? By technical errors, I mean like Is there bad acting? Is there audio or visual problems? Is there editing problems? Is there a huge confusion in the story or script or plot? And there was none of that. There was none of that. There was no technical errors. It was technically pretty flawless. And so I can't give this movie any less than a 5 out of 10 because I've seen movies that literally go off course. The story goes, completely off course and is confusing to me, and those I can rate less than a 5. This stayed true. It's no less than a 5 out of 10, so let's just get that out the way. Some pros. This one, I like that it had the dog. The dog played a big part in it. So it was a good movie. I think it was entertaining. It was fun. It was a great way to kill, an hour or two. And, everyone knows Superman, so it had a pretty good legacy behind it, a good history. It's a good leisure film. The music fit, no technical errors. Nothing too bad to say. Nothing too bad to say. I rate the movie on several different factors. I'm not going to cover each and every one, but when I broke it all down into points, my score came out to be 84 out of 100. That was my 8.4 out of 10 or 84 out of 100, however you want to say it. Some of the cons, because everyone wants to hear the critic, what happened for me to be critical, what was, deducting points. Here's what I say. The villain was the same. I've seen Lex Luthor in different films. I think I've seen Jesse Eisenberg as the same villain in a different Superman movie. And so that was one of the big things, is that I wish it had a new villain. Superman had the same powers, wearing the same outfit. So no new powers, no new outfit. It's the same exact character being played by a new actor. I wish, Superman maybe gains a power or does something different. That would have made it more interesting for me. The same basic concept. His parents leave him, send him to Earth. That was basically the same. So we're talking about something that's the same story, the same powers, the same villain. This is making, to watch another Superman movie, because I don't know how many there are, but I've seen, the more there are that have the exact same story, the less and less interesting each one becomes for me.
Gotcha.
His allies, the Green Lantern and that other team, I forgot what they were called, but
Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, but they had a name for the team.
Oh, the Justice Gang.
The Justice Gang. So his allies in that movie were the Justice Gang, and I think that guy, the Green Lantern, they were kind of corny, cheesy looking. They were just as soon as Green Lantern walks on the scene and starts talking, I'm like, oh, this guy is a prick. I'm not gonna like this guy right off the bat, Seeing the same story elements, powers over and over again, the same villains, that's what brought the score down for me. But it's not a bad score. Good movie. I gave it 84 out of 100.
Alright, 84 out of 100. Not bad. I feel like my experience with the movie went a little bit different. I might be a little bit more critical of the movie just because it's the first one for the universe. So when you think of the first movie that sets the tone for cinematic universe, you think of Iron Man and how big that movie was. So I'm looking at it with those kind of eyes, this is the one that's gonna birth everything. So I thought it was a decent movie. I don't think that they set a great foundation for the audience to be able to connect with Superman right off the bat, because this is a reboot, but it's also they wanted to go for a non-origin story. They're we want to put you in the middle of Superman, his active life and what's going on, and not go through what they always do and tell you how everything began. So I think the way that they decided to do that in this movie did not establish a real connection. The movie starts out with a bunch of words on the screen, telling you about a conflict. Superman gets involved, and then it jumps and tells you this is the first battle that he's lost. And this was all described on words. It would have been a lot more meaningful if, you know, they gave us some sort of visual on this in the beginning. So that kind of, you know, already set the bar a little low for me. And just, you know, continuing into the movie, they introduced the villain, Lex Luthor. He's like a super genius. His way of fighting Superman is yelling out these counterattacks that he facilitates to his henchman who's working for him. I think his name was Ultraman. He had 2 henchmen with him. It was the woman, her name was the Engineer, and the other dude, I believe his name was Ultraman. I might be wrong.
Yeah, it was Ultraman.
Ultraman, alright, got it. So, you know, that's his way of combating Superman, using these predetermined fighting moves to combat him. And it worked until it didn't. And the funny thing that stood out to me was Lex Luthor is supposed to be like this super genius, but his plan unfolded because the dog ate the cameras. He had no contingency plan for that. And I thought that was definitely a little weak, because for him to be so smart and to be able to have all these fighting moves, like I think they said in the movie, it was like 25,000. It might have been 25,000 or 2,500. I don't remember. But either way, he had a lot of fighting moves stored up in his head, but he had no contingency plan for if and when the cameras, you know, if the feed cut out or whatever. So that pretty much unfolded everything with him.
Oh yeah, one thing I just thought of. Also, the story, his love interest in the story, Lois Lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, same love story, same exact thing. So you see how you're kind of watching a quarter of the movie is the same. That's me being critical about it, you know?
No, yeah, I get that. I mean, the love interest side wasn't really like, I mean, we know Lois Lane and Superman are together. It's just so funny how, like, that's another thing about Superman that's crazy to me is how does he get away with being Superman? Clark Kent and Superman. It's literally Superman with no glasses on. He has the same face, the same voice, and somehow, and in the beginning of the movie, like, people are like, how does Clark Kent keep getting these interviews with Superman? Like, no one is able to put 2 and 2 together. It's just...
I think they say that it's in the glasses he wears. The glasses he wears are not just glasses. I think that they have it's like a certain technology in him that changes like how he looks or something to other people. The glasses he wears are actually like specially made for people not to recognize him. I think.
Wow.
That they mentioned that in the movie. But I could be wrong.
I've never heard that before. I'm not saying it is wrong. But I'm also not very deep in the Superman lore either, so I wouldn't be shocked if it was true. Very interesting. But yeah, it's just crazy how he keeps getting away with that. And yeah, the romance side plot, it was meant to be a secret, but it was very obvious even to the other co-worker. So, you know, I don't know what they plan on doing with that or how they can expand on that, but as far as like if there's going to be a sequel. But overall, I would give the movie a 6 out of 10. I didn't really connect with a lot of the characters. I was happy that the side characters were a bit more than just being in the movie. Like, you had Mr. Terrific, who, you know, helped Lois out to facilitate his escape when he was captured by Lex Luthor. That was really good because it just showed that they had an objective and they were in the movie for a reason. The other 2, Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, they were in the movie. They had a couple scenes, but they didn't really get as much screen time as I thought they would, especially with all the memes that were on the internet. I thought that they were doing way more in the movie. They might have been on screen for 5 minutes in totality. So,
yeah, I wasn't too much of a huge fan of the whole, what are they called again? The
Justice Gang.
The Justice Gang. As soon as I, like, Justice Gang, I wasn't really feeling them in this movie. I don't want to be all doom, though, all doom and gloom about it. Like I said, it was a good movie, really entertaining.
The action scenes were good.
Yeah, action was amazing.
The action was good.
The badassness, the CGI, everything was
good. Yeah, visually it looked cool. It was very bright movie. It looked good on the screen. The humor didn't connect with me as well. And I think, that's another thing. I never found DC movies to be like the humorous type of movies. I look for that in Marvel. DC is usually more darker, serious tones. So the humor just didn't land with me, and I think it has a lot to do with James Gunn being at Marvel for so long. Now he's coming over to DC, so he's kind of trying to bring that Marvel vibe over there, and it might work with other movies, but I just feel like it didn't connect as much in this one.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the comedy in it, really. Mostly it was just what brought it down for me from being an A was that a lot of that stuff I've seen before. Otherwise, I'd perfectly, if someone's like, oh, let's go watch Superman, I'll be like, all right, let's go watch it, because it's a good movie. It's a great movie. It's just not like, it's like some of it is like seeing the same thing, like for the 7th time. And so towards the end of the 2-hour long movie, I was already kind of like playing on my phone, kind of, like, oh, like, all right, kind of just like I wasn't paying full attention. It's hard to keep me into the movie when about a quarter of it, I already know the story, the backstory. I know what his powers. I know the love interest. I know too much about it to keep me into it for 2 hours, which made it it couldn't be an A for me. It was a B because it couldn't be an A.
Definitely refreshing though. It's refreshing to see superhero movies back in the theater. We also recently got Fantastic Four in there, and I thought that was a way better take on the origin movie, as I'm putting it, because even though these aren't origin stories, at least this one gave us a little briefing and a better foundation to connect with the characters in the movie. A fantastic movie starts off, they don't fully go into their origin, but they give you a nice little montage in the beginning showing you how the Fantastic Four, the protectors of, Earth and the city that they're in, showing them fighting numerous bad guys and just like establishing the relationship between Fantastic Four and the civilians, as these are I'm pretty sure like at that time, or at least in this world, Fantastic Four are the only superheroes on Earth. So I think they did a great job with that. They showed the quick, they went up to space and they hit the cosmic rays. That's how they got their powers. And I think the movie also did a great job. After the beginning, they go into the movie kind of honestly reminded me of a roller coaster. You would go up and they start with the montage. They like kind of peak you. Then they bring you back down to, earth or ground when they start going into, Sue Storm being pregnant and how they've been trying forever. And then they're worried about if the baby's going to have powers and, just like kind of humane things. The movie goes down and then it just brings you right back up when Silver Surfer comes on the screen and lets you know there's a warning. Galactus is coming. There's nothing you can do. Then there's all this, then it brings you back down a little bit because then it shows you how they get prepared and the people are, excited because they know that the Fantastic Four is going to go out there and stop the threat. And then it brings you right back up when they're going to see Galactus. You see Galactus for the first time. So the movie does a great job of building the tension up, bringing you right back down. You see Galactus for the first time on screen because he was in the previous Fantastic Four movie, but they just had him as a cloud. This is like the first time we've seen him walking around. I kind of wish he did a little bit more destruction. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he looked great. He, stomped some buildings. They had a cool fight. But I guess because of the fact that when he came to Earth, before he got to Earth, he gave them the ultimatum of, hey, I'll spare Earth if you give me your child.
He was just after the kid. He didn't come to Earth to destroy it. He came to Earth just for the kid.
Yeah, well, he was going to take the kid and then eat the planet after he had secured the kid. But I kind of wish they would have showed him maybe some laser eye beam, kicking some buildings over. Just a little bit more destruction. That's just me personally. But
yeah, I feel you.
Still, I thought the movie was great. As far as score, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of the best Marvel movies in a while. I would say the star of the movie for me was Vanessa Kirby. Vanessa Kirby, I think she did a great job as Sue Storm, and a close runner-up would be the actor that played Johnny Flame. He did a great job as well. But yeah, this movie was it for me. Definitely, I enjoyed it more than Superman. It kept my attention. I was into the story. It delivered one of the best mid-credit scenes in Marvel history. And yeah, what about you? What did you think, Emmanuel?
Yeah, I saw Fantastic Four, and I love Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four with Miles Teller in it, that was seriously, I can't say top 5, top 10, but that was, I really loved that movie. The one with Miles Teller. I love Fantastic Four altogether. I think the one that I just saw, 2025, it was entertaining, good movie, fun movie, good leisure film. The music fit. Most importantly, no technical errors. As soon as I see some bad acting or some kind of the story going off course right away, I'm just like, oh no, this shouldn't be in theaters. But there was none of that. It was definitely fun, had good action. The comedy was on point. The story on point. I like the emotion of it. The realism. When I say realism, I don't mean realistic. Obviously there's flying cars, superpowers, all that stuff. When I mean realism, I mean for instance, in Superman, they had that one scene where it was Lois Lane and it was one of the guys from the Justice Gang. I'm not sure what his name is. Was that Mr. Terrific when they go to an army base, Lex Luthor's army base?
Yes.
And they go to, that was Mr. Terrific?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're out there, they go to this army base, it's just a 2-man team. It's just Lois Lane and Mr. Terrific, and there's the entire base of soldiers, right? And so this guy, Mr. Terrific, he just he has some kind of shielding, he puts some kind of shield around them both, and he uses these orbs to just he just starts taking soldiers out with these orbs, right? He just starts, he throws an orb, kills the soldier, throws an orb, and he literally goes through at least I don't know how many, 40, 50 soldiers, and that's a really unrealistic battle. You know what I mean? I would love to have seen, for instance, that battle, I would love to have seen, soldiers maybe from 50 meters away, shooting at them, or someone trying to throw a grenade, or you know what I'm saying? There had to be some sort of battle element.
Just a real, more heightened sense of danger.
Right, more realism to the battle than just, he threw the orb and in less than 30 seconds they take out an entire, battalion, an entire platoon of, of soldiers. That's what I mean by realism, is that Fantastic Four had that realism. The situations they were in, while they still had powers, they still had flying cars. I'm not saying that's Earth realistic. What I'm saying is the situations they were in.
There was a threat. It was a threat. It was an actual threat. Galactus was gonna come, eat the planet, kill everyone. There was a real threat. And even when they went to when they were on their way there, they're cracking jokes. They're like, "Oh, we'll let you punch him up if he doesn't want to do anything." They're thinking this is gonna be a cakewalk, and then they get there and see it's this ginormous being that could easily wipe the floor with them. They're having trouble with Silver Surfer. So And Silver Surfer is, their size. Now going up against someone like Galactus that's bigger than a skyscraper. And he wasn't even as big as he can really get, because Galactus is he ridiculously big. I don't even know the word to use.
He eats planets.
Yeah, so it's just like they didn't even really show him at his full potential. But
yes, I mean, so going on. So that was kind of like that's what I mean by realism when I say that Fantastic Four was more realistic. Just so that makes sense to everyone. The CGI, special effects, everything that was all on point. Now, here's what I didn't like. Again, we saw the same villain. We saw the Silver Surfer. But Galactus was new, so that was good. They had the same powers. They're wearing the same outfits, the same origin story, how they got their powers. Seeing the same story elements and powers over and over again, the same villains, is what brought the score down. This movie could not get an A from me. Because again, I'm sitting here and I'm watching what is basically the same movie for the fourth or fifth time with some new actors. Thank goodness it had a new, I saw Galactus, which was new, and that's what brought the score a little bit higher than Superman, but it could not yet be an A for me. I'd love to see a new character on the team or a new villain. I would love to see some sort of really deep innovation happening. If they put out a new movie, it has to have some sort of innovative twist on it when compared to the last movie. If it's the same team with the same powers and the same outfits fighting the same villains, it cannot get an A for me. And it seems to be a trend going on in most of the superhero movies. There's very little innovation, and it's usually just a straight-on retelling. Superman, they added the dog. Fantastic Four, I guess this time she had the kid. But the kid was, in this movie.
Well, the kid is in the comics too, so it's not that new.
And I'm just talking about the movie, but it couldn't get an A. I gave it an 89 out of 100. So it just couldn't get it was a great movie. I just couldn't give it an A because I didn't see enough innovation.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Cause you say this like it's a lot of the same powers, the same costume, the same characters. What do you say I asked you this question, and what do you say, they're trying to also cater to these people who are fans of the comics. So when they go for these looks, the costumes that they use, the powers, these are all like signature styles, signature powers. They want to be able to cater to the people who will look at that and say, yeah, that's exactly how it was in the comics. What do you say to that they're just trying to cater to those people who are fans of this property and the comics that have been around for such long?
I mean, I know that there's the comic book fans and, there's maybe the cartoon fans. I know there's a lot of different media about Fantastic Four, but I'm talking about the movie in particular. So when I'm giving a rating, when I'm giving an opinion or a criticism, it's about the movie in particular, because the people who wrote the comics and the people who wrote the movie, that's two completely different teams. It's the same franchise, but it's two completely different teams. A person who loves movies will not necessarily like comic books, and a person who likes comic books will not necessarily like movies. So we're talking about two completely different things. You know what I mean? It's like if you like Chinese food, just because you like Chinese food, I might like General Tso's and you might like sweet and sour chicken, but that doesn't mean that, the guy who likes sweet and sour chicken will like General Tso's. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the movie in particular. I think if it doesn't follow the comic books exactly, that's less of an important factor to consider rather than just make the movie good. I don't know. I know that they want to follow the comic books, but I wouldn't be mad if the movie took a completely new path, a completely new innovation that the comic books have never seen. I think the movie is a completely different, monster on its own. That's the way I see things.
Okay. Great answer. I love it. So let me ask you now, because we got to do a little bit of comparison of the two, since they are rivaling, companies, DC and Marvel. Who do you think were the better heroes? Now, I know Fantastic Four is comprised of 4 different people, and Superman is just by himself. He did have the Justice Gang. Maybe he'll include that. But the heroes in Superman and the heroes in Fantastic Four, who do you think had got the best of it? Best portrayal?
The best portrayal of what, of being a hero?
No, just like the characters. I'll go first. I'll say, I think, Fantastic Four for sure. They had, each character play, their roles well. I noticed like they had the bickering between Johnny Flame and the Thing, and that is, something that happens in the comics from what I've seen. I don't read all the comics, but just the ones that I've seen and are familiar with, I know that that's a thing. Reed Richards, played by Pedro Pascal, extremely smart, obviously the leader. And then Sue Storm, played by Vanessa Kirby. She was great, emotionally connecting with the audience when she gave that speech, letting the people of the earth know that they're going to protect them. So, I think that they all nailed their roles perfectly well, and the characters were definitely more relatable and a better connection with the audience for sure.
So here's what I think on that as far as like the characters and the actors. So I think the Fantastic Four, they had the family element to it. They had the kid being born, and the baby, the whole brother sister aspect, the wife and husband aspect. The Thing, in other movies, he was usually a pretty crunk, just like battle-hardened guy. In this movie, they dumbed him down a lot. This guy was like cooking and emotionally, he was practicing emotional intelligence and stuff. And so I'm not sure if I liked him being dumbed down, or, I'm one of those guys who I liked him crunk. I liked him blowing stuff up and, beating everyone up. I like that thing. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about the whole pregnancy on the spaceship either. That, there was way too much going on. They're like visiting Galactus's planet. They're like having a baby at the same time. They're like trying to calculate a course around the gravity of the moon or something, and they're trying to escape Galactus and the Silver Surfer. So in that scene, there was way too much going on. I think they could have omitted the baby entirely, or at least not have had the baby be born in that scene. I think that was an error that I could bring up. So I think that it had it was hugely political for Fantastic Four. It was hugely family oriented. They dumbed down the Thing. And I think it had good action, but I mean, it was great. I'm not saying it didn't have enough action, but there was like, press conferences and the whole baby part. They were like trying to take care of a baby and stuff. They might have done a little bit too much for my tastes. Superman was clean cut. Superman was Superman. He comes in, he beats guys up, he flies, he shoots lasers. They had the love interest. They had the Justice Gang, which now that I look at it, the Justice Gang might have literally been a bunch of losers on purpose so that you can tell the Superman doesn't really have like a team of, like Fantastic Four, they're pretty much a team of equals. Superman, he doesn't really have much to work with, and I think that was part of the comedic, that was supposed to be like that. Now that I look at it, he was supposed to be working with a bunch of like losers. Compared to him, they were losers, when actually they're really smart and, they're pretty strong. But compared to Superman, they are not. And that was kind of funny in and of itself. But it was more of a clean cut, what you think a superhero movie should be. Fantastic Four had a bunch of science elements, political elements, family elements, like hidden backstory to it. I think they might have tried to do a little bit too much with it. That's just my opinion, though.
Excellent. All right. Do you have any hot takes on Superman? Like, just I'll give you a couple of minutes to think because I already have mine loaded up. But just something just scathing hot, out of the box, maybe something that no one has said yet about the movie. Mine, I don't want to say mine is scathing hot. Yours might be a little hotter than mine, but I can say for Superman, one thing that I did not, like was the fact that it tried to mirror some of the things that are going on, in the world today. Like they had the two countries and their war and one of them invading. I felt like, just kind of trying to mirror some of the stuff that's going on today. And I feel like that's fine in movies, where that's the point. Like whether it's a documentary or based on a true story or something like that. But when I'm going to see a fantasy movie, I want to disconnect from the real world. And this isn't the first movie this year that's tried that. I've seen people, another movie that came out earlier this year, Mickey 17 with Timothy, Chalamet. I've seen people say that the character Mark Ruffalo.
Mickey 17.
Yeah, Mickey 17.
That was Timothy Chalamet? No, that was the guy from Twilight.
Are you sure?
Well,
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I think his name's Robert Pattinson, not Timothy Chalamet.
Sorry, my bad. Well, a little confusion there, but Mickey 17. Yeah, they said a lot of people I had seen say the character that Mark Ruffalo was playing was very Trump-like. That's what the consensus on his character was. So sometimes, just that touch of realism isn't always necessary, especially when I feel like a lot of people go to the movies to disconnect and enter, a fantasy world, especially when it's a superhero movie, which obviously deals with fantasy. So that would be my hot take for Superman. What about you? Anything?
Hot take for Superman. I mean, honestly, I watch movies for pure enjoyment. I don't come into a movie hoping to find some sort of deep political, depth to it or deep scientific insights or anything at all like that. When I watch a movie, I'm there purely to be entertained. And so I don't really, when I saw them going to war, I did kind of be like, oh, that's kind of going on. But it was, it didn't have the names of the countries stamped on there. It was like some sort of fake country. I'm not even sure if that country even really exists. And
no, definitely not.
Yeah, and it was just to me it was just a war. To me, it was just like a war between countries to have some sort of political, side to the movie, some sort of political twist. So it's not just Superman kicking everyone's butt. I didn't read that deep into it. I don't even go there.
Okay. What about Fantastic Four? Any hot take on that?
I mean, not really. I mean, I like the scientific. I like the fact that the guy was a scientist, and I like the political aspect to it. They have to give press conferences in front of the whole world and stuff, and news. I liked it. It was just nothing. Again, I don't read that deep into it. It just might have been a little like that one scene that I described earlier. It might have been too much. I wish that
the pregnancy scene.
Yeah, like they were doing 4 or 5. That wasn't multitasking, which is doing 2 things at once or 3. They were trying, they literally, I was just like, what is going on? I was just like, okay, y'all are doing way too much here. My hot take was that, sometimes less is more.
All right, less is more. Love it. So, what do you think, where do you see the future of Marvel going right now? Because we've been on the Marvel train for a while. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of the movies, if not all of them. We got the great end credit scene showing Doom. We know that the next Avengers movie is Doomsday. After that, they'll be doing Secret Wars. And then after that, from what I've heard, Marvel is supposed to be doing a soft reboot. They'll be ushering in the X-Men. They already have some mutants in the MCU, but they'll be ushering in more. And just where do you think Marvel will be going post these 2 Avenger movies?
See, the thing about me is that I can't even really give a superhero movie an A. I haven't given a superhero movie an A since Avengers Infinity War. that movie was like the culmination of like 100 years of Marvel history. Like it had like every superhero in it versus an undefeatable enemy. Like you pretty much, that was the last movie that could be considered for me like an A, like a 10 out of 10. That was the last thing. You're not going to be able to really beat that movie because it had just so much history, so much legendary characters in it, legendary actors. I think Infinity War was the last time I gave a superhero movie an A. Everyone loved Endgame, and to me, I think again that was doing too much. I think, you know, they brought everyone back, which was really cool. I even gave it an A, but like I said, that might have been doing too much. And so ever since Infinity War, I think superhero movies have been kind of, just for me, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but just for me, I would rather watch a movie that's not a superhero movie. And all I'm saying is as far as the future, I just hope that they innovate, that they stop doing a lot of the same stuff, that I see new characters, I see new villains and new powers and, you know, cool, you know, stories. You know, what's that movie on Amazon Prime with, they're also superheroes, but it shows like the dark side of it. Remember that?
I'm trying to think.
The Boys.
Oh, The Boys. Yeah, that was a cool series.
That was a really cool series. That's what I'm talking about. Something like that, to where it's completely new characters, completely new powers.
But you know The Boys is based on a graphic novel, right? It is based on the source material.
I mean, like I said, I just watch movies and TV shows just to be entertained. I'm not one of those people who sits here and like reads the comics or the books or goes to the Disneyland to ride the ride. I just watch the movie because I need to unwind. You know, I'm at the house, I need to unwind for an hour or two. I watch a movie or a show. So that's basically what I hope, is that I don't really care where it's going as long as wherever it ends up, you know, we get some innovation. We get some new stuff. Even if it sucks, I'd rather see new stuff that isn't as good as the old stuff, but I just don't want to be watching what I feel like is the same thing.
Understandable. And I think a lot of people, that attributes to a lot of people's superhero fatigue out there. They're tired of seeing the same thing, most definitely. But, alright, that was great. So, before we wrap the show up, I think it's been a great first show. First of all, thank you so much if you're still here. Appreciate you. Before we wrap it up, let me just ask you, do you have any favorite movies you've seen so far this year? And are there any movies that you're looking forward to that are coming out, you know, before the year ends? Yeah, you. The guy across from me.
Oh, me? Oh, I thought you were asking, like, the people listening.
Well, if the people want to answer that, they can for sure. Drop it in the comments. But no, I'm asking you.
Okay, so the question was, any movies I'm looking forward to this year?
Yes, sir. And if you have any favorite movies you've seen so far this year?
I'm kind of slacking this year as far as movies are concerned. I haven't seen Karate Kid, which I do want to see. I haven't even seen Thunderbolts, which I want to see. I'm kind of slacking this year, so I can't really say, you know, what movies that I want to see upcoming this year. I don't know what movies I want to see, but I know for a fact I'm going to watch Karate Kid because I haven't seen it, and I'm going to watch Thunderbolts because I haven't seen it. And yeah, whatever movies come out, I mean, I don't really like plan to see a movie. I'm just like, whenever I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'm bored, or you know, if someone asks me like, hey Emmanuel, let's go see a movie, that's when I'll go see a movie. Like, I don't actually plan for it. I've seen thousands of movies. It's really hard for me to like get excited about a movie because I've seen so many thousands of movies, but I'm bound to watch, you know, whatever pops up, or if someone says, let's go see a movie, I'll be down. So it's kind of, with me, it's just whatever comes along type of thing.
All right. For me, I would say these two movies I definitely want to see. That they released, but I just didn't get to see them yet. I definitely want to see the new Final Destination movie, Bloodlines. I heard it was really good. And I definitely want to check out the Ballerina movie, the John Wick spinoff. Definitely want to check that out. Heard good things about it. As far as favorite movies of the year, I definitely would put the Fantastic Four in there. I would put Bring Her Back, good horror movie that came out this year. And surprisingly, How to Train a Dragon. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. Honestly, I think a lot of the movies this year have been a little subpar. I know people love Sinners. I think Sinners was good. But I mean, last year we had a lot more better movies. Maybe because I'm a horror thriller fan. There were definitely a lot of horror thriller movies last year. They had the Trap movie when the guy was at the concert with his daughter. They had the Maxine movie. They had, that's the one with Mia Goth. They had the Heretic movie where the two, I don't want to say they were nuns. Maybe they were missionaries. They got trapped in the old guy's basement. They had the, there were a lot, honestly, but it was a lot of, I felt like the quality of movies last year was definitely better than what we're getting this year. But next year, we're going to have a lot of bangers. You wanted to say something?
I did. You were saying about how a movie that I want to see. There is a new movie coming out called Anaconda with, it's got Paul Rudd and Jack Black in it. And if y'all remember the Anaconda with the one with Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez, that's the Anaconda. It's just kind of like, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's a remake, but it's another Anaconda movie, except this time it's Paul Rudd and Jack Black going out to the Amazon trying to film the movie Anaconda. So
I've heard of that.
That should be funny.
We'll see that for sure.
Yeah.
I've heard of that movie. Definitely. But all right, that is going to be our time for today. Thank you for listening to the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. Really appreciate it if you made it this far. We're definitely going to keep this thing going. Fresh topics, fresh segments each episode. Can't wait for the next one. And we'll see you guys there. Thank you.